Welcome to Bending Over Backwards with James Adkins. I'm your host, Dr. James Adkins, where each week we take a deep dive into what it takes to break through barriers and change the game, whether that's in medicine, business, or life. Today, I'm sitting here with Melissa Langberg, who has broken through barriers. Melissa owns a company in town called Citrine. It's a famous spot. It's a popular term in the Adkins household. My mother-in-law, all the women I know, and us men too, use your skincare products. Thank you for being here. I've watched you grow.
Yeah.
You know, I saw you start your business, and now you're a big deal around here, and I think all over the Southwest. So tell us a little bit about your story.
Yeah. So I started in 2012. I opened my business then. My background kind of comes from the beauty industry, right? It's wild to say that I've been working in the beauty industry for 25 years, half of those being in what we call quote unquote clean beauty, right?
Okay.
So being more intentional with ingredients and all of that. So I had this moment where I wanted to make the transition in my own personal life because I was looking at the ingredients of what I was putting in my body. And then I started to look at the ingredients of what I was putting on my body. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, I need to share this with others. Others need to know this. What am I doing? How am I getting this out there? And I had a moment in Sedona where it just came to me, like very clear, like the whole vision. I wanted to have a little space. I wanted to be a boutique that women could come and visit and feel very empowered to like make a different choice when it comes with beauty and choose products that were intentional, that had mindful ingredients in there, and that weren't going to be harmful for their health or their hormones. So that's how Citrine was born in 2012. And like you said, we were talking before, I started out in a little 200 square foot space, and now
you have grown.
I have
That's
grown,
impressive.
yes. Yeah. And so I had no idea, but I have an online business where we actually ship nationwide. We even shipped Canada and couple customers that beg us internationally. And then obviously here in town. So it's been a fun ride.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful place. So natural skincare products, we were discussing earlier, my entire focus, my career has been in human nutrition and spine and pain medicine. And I can remember back in undergrad studying human nutrition when you were crazy. You were a quack if you told people to take vitamins and minerals in the late 80s, early 90s. No one did that. But we were still a little bit aware of what we were putting in our bodies. You know, we thought about that, but not on our bodies.
Right.
And it's crazy when I think about all the training I've had and just the awareness of the skincare, what you brush your teeth with, phthalates, what you put on your skin. Bad news. You can give yourself a disease by what you're putting on your skin, right?
Totally. Totally. And you're exposing yourself to so many toxins, right? We all have what I like to consider like the toxic load, right? Mm-hmm. Like we live in a toxic world, and our bodies are resilient. So I like to also say like that because I feel like moving into like what I would consider a non-toxic life sometimes can feel like very like fear monger. Mm-hmm. And I like to take that away and instead replace it with empowering.
Just
and
dip your toes in, learn a little bit more.
Yeah, a little bit at a time. Like make your own choices, like change out things as they come, change out your cleaning products, the things that you can control in your home, change out your beauty products, little by little, you can make those shifts and it really helps you out so that you're not burdening your body. I think that's super important.
Yeah. I think I can remember, in school being exposed to theories on why were women getting more head and neck and face cancer, and is that because of what they're putting on their skin? There's all kinds of theories, but it's really cool what you're doing because your skin is a big organ, right?
It is.
I mean, you can absorb some really toxic, nasty chemicals through what you're putting on your skin.
100%. Yeah. I mean, they say like everything that you put on your skin, it gets absorbed into your bloodstream within 30 seconds.
Wow.
And if you don't believe this theory, you can take like a piece of garlic and literally rub it on the bottom part of your foot and you're going to taste it in your mouth.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Instantaneously. So having that thought, then making those better choices when it comes to your products, it's a simple switch.
You timed that right. With you, because your company, I've seen it grow massively, and I walk by your store sometimes. People waiting outside. I mean, it's busy. You guys are doing some great work over there. So, what about the concept of there's no preservatives in your makeup, right, or your skincare products, and is that affect their shelf life? And how do you maintain the, how do you know that your skincare products are what they say they are? Because you're not using preservatives. Right?
100%. Yeah. So we carry over 40 different brands at Citrine. Okay. So they're not my brands. I just want to say, want to say that they're not my brands yet. And so
I think of them as your brands.
Yeah. Right. Because I feel like, I've grown with some of these, and so I've been carrying them for so long, and, I've really seen such an amazing, like Tata Harper, she just got bought out by Amore Pacific. Wow. I can only imagine like how much money she made off of that. Like just amazing. So, but to go back to your question about the preservatives. So I think that there's a little bit of a confusion with that. It's not all preservatives are bad, but I think that cheap preservatives with chemicals that are not going to be good for your health are what most companies use. Let's be honest. Because most beauty brands out there are owned by 3 conglomerates. And you can look them up and literally see that they're all under the same umbrella. Okay. They're getting manufactured in the same facilities. It's really the same kind of stuff. They're just putting different packaging and different names on it. We're kind of starting to see this with luxury goods even, right? With all this tariff talk, we're seeing that they all come out of the same factory. And then it's like, then that gets shipped to Italy with a couple little stitches here and there. And so, same thing with beauty. It's been going on forever. And so I think like the transparency around this, people are seeing more. And so when it comes to natural products, it's not that they don't have preservatives in there. They're different type of preservatives. And I'm not a cosmetic chemist, so I can't like give you exactly what it is. But I know that they're not ones that contain forever chemicals in there, which is the biggest concern, right? And because we know that never comes out of our body. Yeah. And it's harmful for our health. And a lot of people are allergic to them, to be honest with you. With that being said, yes, the shelf life is different. So when you buy a product from my store, it depends on what product and brand it is. I'd say like the lowest shelf life we have in the store is around 6 months. Like some products are like 2 years. Okay. But if you're not using your beauty products within 2 years, you probably don't need to own that anyway, because if you're using it on your body every day, you're going to go through it. And then a lot of times people ask me too about cost, right? Because they're like, well, this obviously must cost more than, right? And it's like, no, it's really the same price. Like if you're comparing, if you walk into like any department store or into a Sephora, like our products, it's around the same price range.
So you get natural, better stuff, and it's about the same price.
Exactly.
And if it only lasts a couple years, you're going to use it anyway.
Yeah. I mean, do you really want a lipstick that lasts 5 years? No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what would be on that then. You know what I mean? A lot of petroleum products. Yes. Like not good.
Yeah. Okay. So how do you balance now? You're an entrepreneur. I've seen your store grow. You're from your kiosk to your big store. Yep. How do you balance that? I know you're a wife and you're a mom, and we were talking before you came on stage. That's always challenging for entrepreneurs. I love to. What is your how do you balance that? What's some of your strategies?
Do I balance that? Is that the better? I really feel like as women, we're put into a tough position because we do want to have it all. And can we have it all, right? That's like the question. So my answer isn't going to be for everybody because my circumstances are different than others. When I started my business, I worked in my business 7 days a week. I was probably working 70 to 80 hours in my business. And I had that for 5 or 6 years before I had my daughter. Yeah. So I got to do all that front work before. Yeah. So now I have the opportunity to kind of tailor my own schedule. Sure. Yes, I'm busy. Yeah. Yes, she's like, Mom, when are you going to be done with this? But I have more time for her. So I have luxuries that other people don't.
Makes sense.
But I would say like for me, like how I balance it the most is I make sure that I load the front part of my day with more work, right? She's at school, she's all of that. So that when I go home at night, I'm very present with her. Sure. And weekends, I'm very present with her. Yeah. It's super important to connect. And my husband, we make sure we get hopefully time. 1 or 2 date nights on the books per month, to really connect and have that quality time. But when you're running and growing a business, I think there are sacrifices that
That's
you
a
have
great
to
message.
make.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
point blank. There are going to be sacrifices that you have to make, and
Yeah.
that's where you have to explain it to your spouse and explain it to even your children.
Yeah.
I'm making these sacrifices so we can have X, and
Sure.
try to bring them along too. I mean, obviously my daughter's really young now, but you know, the more I grow, the more things grow, all of that, like bring her along that
So
journey.
she sees the journey with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there, you know, do you hear that? That's a great message. If you can start your company when you're single,
Yeah.
if you can give all your effort prior to having a family, not everybody gets to time that exactly how they
No.
want. I was fortunate enough to do that too. And to be an entrepreneur, to get a company off the ground, to start that, it takes everything you have.
It
There's no
does.
half measure.
No.
There's no way. So my hat is off to all these entrepreneurs who do this with families, especially females who can do this with family. I don't know how they do it. But it is a balance. And if you're fortunate enough to be in your early 20s and hear the message and start before you have children, it's an advantage, isn't it?
100%. Yeah.
Balance. So, what's controversial in your space right now?
What's controversial in my space
Yeah.
right now? Ooh, that's like a question I wasn't expecting. So I have to think about
Gotta
that
throw
for
you off a little bit.
a second.
There's got to be the detractors, right? The big companies that have always been petroleum-based products,
Yeah.
or these, like you said, forever chemicals. And then the new kid on the block that comes in with the natural makeup, the natural skincare. You're taking their market share. I know you are, because in my house, nothing's allowed but a lot of your stuff from your store.
Love
so
that.
that's
Thank
got to
you.
be, there's a little bit of a battle going
Well,
on.
you know, I think it's interesting, right? Because when I started, this is almost 13 years ago, people didn't really know about this. This is like, I would say in the last 5 or 6 years has really blown up.
Yeah.
I feel like honestly around the time of COVID, right? Everybody was like
Interesting.
at home making
Yeah.
their sourdough and realizing
Learning.
that they need to like probably
Sourdough's
pay
better
attention.
than Wonder Bread?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And wait, I need to pay attention to this and that and the
Yeah.
other. So I just feel like there was a big awakening at that point in time. But I will say, like, you see now, like, even like Sephora has like the clean at Sephora label. And yeah, there's a few brands that I first carried that now Sephora carries because they want in
You were
on
in
that
where
market
Sephora's
share.
store was. You were there. You were there before Sephora.
I was there before Sephora.
That's right.
Yeah, Sephora moved across from me. But they want they want those labels. They want to get in on that market. But their standards and my standards are 100% different. Like they have chemical sunscreens under clean at Sephora. Like there's nothing clean about that, So I think that what controversial is like the greenwashing and the labeling, and like people are trusting that certified clean at Sephora label. Like that's everything.
Sure.
Not really
Not
though.
really. Same stuff that was going on with food labels the last
Exactly.
few decades, and just we say obfuscating, just lying to consumers,
100
just taking advantage of consumers,
Yeah.
and being dishonest.
Yeah. Which is really sad, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I call it like greenwashing,
Yeah.
because it's like you can say that something is organic or it's good for you or whatever, and it has one ingredient, and then you're claiming that, and the rest of the ingredient list can be absolutely garbage. So I think I would say like maybe the controversial thing is like that labeling, and that
makes
clean at
sense.
Sephora label is not so clean.
So how do you manage your stress level? What's your
My
routine?
practice?
Yeah.
I wake up early.
Okay.
Having time for myself in the morning is very important to me. So I like to like go on my walk. I like to just have some time to think. I like to say, I do a meditation, but I don't always do that. Sometimes I'm like listening to a podcast. It depends
Sure.
on the mood and the
Or
season
you're
that I'm
reading,
in.
or you're doing something. Yeah,
I'm doing something, yeah. So if I'm going on a walk and I'm like really into something going on in my business, I'm doing that. Sometimes I'm meditating, I'm doing whatever, I'm doing a yoga practice. And then I really love Kundalini yoga. I do Kundalini yoga a lot too.
Okay. So meditating. Do you use a metronome? How do you get there? How do you
Just myself.
Just breathing and
Just breathing.
watching your breath?
Yeah, just breathing and listening and just connecting in. I know a lot of people use a lot of different things now. There's apps, there's all these kind of things you can. I've always been a little woo, to be honest with you. Like I said, in 2012,
well, you lived in California for a while.
Well, yeah, I lived in California for a while, and even when I was growing up, my mom was always like a little into things. So I mean, I've always been a little there. So yeah, I don't do those things. I just we'll just tune in or put on a nice music and just kind of listen. You know what I mean? Because I think sometimes that's really important too, even as entrepreneurs, whatever you want to call it. If you don't want to call it meditation, prayer, just taking time for yourself, because I think sometimes we get caught so in the hustle and bustle that we don't actually take the moment to connect in and just listen. Those decisions should be.
So true.
What the things that we should be doing. And so then we get really convoluted. Yeah. And so just quieting the mind and
So true.
Yeah.
Just quieting the mind. I mean, you don't want to make a bad decision. And when your mind is, what do the Buddhists call it? The monkey brain or whatever.
Yes. Yeah.
When your mind's is wound up and you're solving your problems and you're being an entrepreneur and you're waking up every day and you're solving problems. I mean, you can get, your mind can get kind of jacked up and you make a decision when you shouldn't.
Exactly.
When you want to dampen that, right? You want, wait a minute, I need to slow this. I need to turn off my sympathetics. I need to fire up my parasympathetic nervous system. I need to find a way to slow down. So you do that with kind of a morning routine and meditation.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating conversation, I think, with entrepreneurs and business leaders like you to find out how they handle that. Because there's got to be something that gets you focused for the day, that gets you in that zone, because it's not easy running a business.
No, it's not. And I feel there's I could give you my 10-step routine, right? That I do a red light and I do a cold ice bath to the face. But I think
this depends on the day.
It depends on the day. And to be honest with you, the most important thing for me, and I feel for a lot of people, how they would benefit, especially if you are a mom or somebody that's super busy or an entrepreneur, is just getting up early, rising with the sun, and taking some time to yourself, whatever that looks like for you, whatever brings you joy, is really important.
I don't know how anyone could get anything done that didn't get up early.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm an old guy, but the concept of sleeping in, I try to teach my sons that. I'm like, no one gets ahead sleeping.
Right.
I mean, I'm like, show me one business leader, one successful person that sleeps in. I just don't think that's how it gets done.
No, it's not how it gets done.
No. In university, I tried that. That doesn't work very well.
Sure.
So what is the plan for Citrine?
So we're here. We just moved into a new space last May. There's a lot of changes.
A beautiful space.
Thank
that's
you.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So there's a lot of changes going on at the Biltmore that I'm really excited about. People always ask if I'm going to open more spaces. At this time, my answer is no, because I'm really concentrated on growing my online business even more. So
what percentage of that is your business? You don't have to tell me. Is it more than
60,
half,
40.
less than half? Is it? Okay.
Yeah. So 60% in store, 40% online. So it's a pretty significant part of the business.
Did you anticipate that?
No.
No.
We were kind of talking before, I had no idea when I started in 2012, Instagram, all of these things. And so I think I was kind of an early adopter to that and have been whether it was Instagram or Periscope Live or whatever, finding different ways that I can connect with my community for so long that I don't realize. I'm not famous, not even close to this, but I'm just saying, I was in Atlanta, at a True Food, and somebody came up to me and she's like, "Oh, I should shop at your store," which makes sense,
That's
right?
Pretty cool.
Because I'm
cool.
in a different city, but I'm at a True Food, right?
Yeah.
So, and I've had people come up to me in different cities and stuff. So, I just think, I've been out there and been doing this for a minute.
Yeah, 13 years.
13 years. I mean, I can always get bigger and better. Don't get me wrong. My goals are way high of what I want to hit. And then, starting my own line is something that I've always wanted to do. I was actually really close. I had formulas. I was so close. Had my formulations and everything that I wanted to do. And then I was on a trip to find all my packaging. And that's the trip that I got pregnant with my daughter. And so
changed the horizon a bit on what you wanted to do.
So I put a halt on all of that because I was like, I can't birth two babies at once.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I had my daughter in late 2018 and then was kind of, postpartum and wanted to get started back with my line again. And then 2020 hit. And then it's kind of been playing catch up ever since
Yeah.
that. I feel like I'm just coming up from breath after all of that.
Well, your space is at least 10 times bigger than when I remember you starting. So
Yes,
I'd
it
say you're
is.
on a pretty rapid.
I'm on a
ascent.
good trajectory
Yeah, you're
for
on a good
sure.
trajectory.
Yes.
So, and you said, can I postpartum? Obviously, I'm in
Yeah.
medicine, so that's Did you have some challenges after?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Do you mind sharing?
Yeah. I feel like that was like, when you say about finding the balance, that was probably the hardest time for me
Okay.
to find balance.
So hard as a
because
young
at the
mom.
time I was
Entrepreneur, young mom. I mean,
yeah, all
yeah,
of the things.
yeah.
And like I was working in my business prior to having my daughter like full time.
Okay.
And so that was a big transition for me. And I definitely had struggles with that. I didn't have postpartum depression. I had postpartum anxiety. And that was really hard because I'm usually the type of person that has the tools and knows the tools to kind of combat that. And there was just nothing at that time that was
Challenged.
helping
You're
me.
challenged.
Yeah. When you're lacking sleep, when your hormones are all over the place.
And you're
like,
ambitious.
and
you
you're-
run a company.
Yeah. There's just like, I mean, I don't want
It's a
to
lot.
I don't want to give no hope, but I just feel like, there's a lot going on there. And so giving yourself grace, I think is the biggest thing that you can do.
Especially for a mom.
100%.
Because you're the dads deal with it. I deal with it. I deal with the fear that I gave too much to the business.
Sure.
It should have been there a little bit. But a mom, it's got to be even more intense.
Yes.
It is different. It's different.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. So you waded through that. And what was can I ask, was there one thing that you did that you think was a real big benefactor during that time frame for you?
Yes.
What would that be?
My skincare routine.
Skincare routine.
I mean, I'm being dead honest.
Because it became cleaner and you weren't loading your body up with a bunch of toxins. I mean, is there a
well,
bunch of
I was already using clean beauty,
Okay.
but for me, it was like the only thing that made me feel human. And I still use, I have a little analogy that I use that I need to talk about more often. I tell women, spend 10 minutes to feel good for 10 hours. Because as a woman, like if you don't take the time to get ready, moisturize your face, connect, it doesn't mean that you have to do like a full glam look,
Sure.
but just like even, so like for me, it would be like when my daughter was down for a nap and I could actually like take a shower and do like a face mask and like,
not just live in sweats all day long with the mom at home?
exactly, yeah. And just like moisturize my skin and it just made me feel better.
Interesting.
So I always say beauty is so much more than the vanity thing. It's because how you present on the outside is really a reflection of what you feel on the inside. And so yeah.
True. It is so true. And even from a man's perspective, I can remember being in university long time ago, an undergrad in my fraternity. And I can remember my first semester in university and the fraternity brothers making us put on a navy jacket and khaki pants and a tie on the day we had an exam. And I'm like, well, why do we have to dress up for an exam? It's just a university. Well, you look good, you feel good, you do good. That was what they would tell us. You look good, you feel good, you do good.
It's true.
So true. You get up, you suit up, you get ready for the game, and you're going to perform better.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Yep.
Wow. Very
10
cool.
minutes for 10 hours.
10 minutes for 10 hours. I love it. So what's your trajectory now for the business? I mean, you said that you're not really wanting to expand your product lines. It's just growing, getting busier on the day-to-day basis. Is that what it is? Just marketing more sales, not more locations necessarily?
Not more locations. I think just more education, more empowering.
And you've got a
women.
hot location in town. I mean, 24th Street in Camelback. That's
Yeah.
That's a good spot.
It's a good spot. It's a good spot.
Okay. All right. And is there anything else that our listeners should hear from you about natural skincare?
Well, they can come in and see me.
Come in and see. So if they wanted to find you, where would they find
Yeah,
you?
so we're located at the Biltmore Fashion Park.
Okay.
We're right across from like where Ralph Lauren is, just
Okay.
for reference in the mall, so they can come see us. We're open 7 days a week.
Okay.
So they can come see
a
us
good
for all
spot.
their beauty needs. If they're new to natural, they've never done this before. I always tell people because it can feel intimidating, right? We will help you. We will help you like switch things out one at a time. You don't have to like come in and be like, oh my gosh, now I've got to buy all of these things. You can do it as things run out. Just come in. Let us educate you and empower you.
I'm glad you brought that up because I remember my own wife going through this process and her deciding on a couple products and asking me, hey, what do you think of this? This is natural. And wanting to just dip her toe in the water a bit. So that makes sense versus I'm throwing out all this stuff. It cost me thousands of dollars and now I'm going to spend thousands of dollars on this. And your husband or your boyfriend's going, what? Scratching his head.
Exactly.
So that makes sense. Just dip your toe in the space.
And there's some people that want to do a full overhaul and that's cool too. But I'm just saying you can just come in and see us, get some education, get samples, see what we're about. Yeah. I literally have, like my products, I've curated the best team as well too. So all my girls they can educate and really get you set up.
And I would comment on that. You know, we were talking offline before we had this meeting, and what you put in your body versus what you put on your body. Yeah. It is so true. And I know you said you've had some health issues where you're very conscientious of what you eat.
Yes.
Because of it causing maybe inflammation in the body and side effects to that. Well, what you put on your skin can cause massive inflammation in the body too.
Exactly.
Right? Hormone disruptors, we know that. That's no longer a secret. Everyone understands it. The makeup you put on, the perfume you put on can really wreak havoc on your endocrine system.
It can.
And make your body think that you have a hormone.
Exactly.
You have a hormone you just placed inside your body that you don't. It's just a hormone-like disruptor.
Exactly.
So very cool. Well, thank you so much for today and for being here. And congratulations on all your success.
Thank you so much.
So I hope this helped you stand taller in your own shoes. If you want to know about natural skincare and natural healthcare, skincare products, making sure you're not putting makeup on your skin that could poison you, I would suggest that you see my friend at Citrine. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.